What happens when law, business, and life collide? Each week on Lead Counsel, your host Tom Tona will take a deep dive into topics related to the law, the business of law, and life. There will be insightful discussions with industry insiders, experts, and thought leaders making significant contributions and meaningful differences in their fields of expertise. Tom is the founder and managing attorney at TonaLaw. He has been a practicing attorney since 1994 and the leader of TonaLaw since it opened in 2001. The goal of this podcast is to provide you with free information on law and the business of law, and to give you actionable tools related to each of these areas. Now, here's Tom.
Hey, welcome back to the Lead Counsel Podcast. Your host, Tom Tona. Before we jump into today's topic, I just want to take a minute to thank the sponsors of the podcast. This episode is sponsored by TonaLaw. They're not just another law firm. They're defining what it means to fight for their clients. We get a lot of attorney referrals from across the country. We pay fee participation in all jurisdictions where it's permitted. We focus on integrity, innovation, and relentless advocacy. TonaLaw is proving that the business of law can scale without losing its heart. If you want to see how a modern firm is built for impact and happy client referrals, check out TonaLaw.com. Mention again the Lead Counsel Podcast, and I'm happy to get on the phone with you. This episode is also brought to you by Meet Gabby, the voice AI built for law firms. Gabby answers your phones 24/7, qualifies leads, and books consultations so you never miss another client. Imagine cutting intake time in half or giving every caller a 5-star experience. That's the power of Meet Gabby. Learn more at meetgabby.com. Mention the Lead Counsel Podcast. You can also hit me up, and I'm glad to make an introduction to the owner. I am here with Elizabeth Garvish. Elizabeth is a decorated, well-known immigration attorney who was out of Atlanta, but she's got some surprises as far as why she's not. Elizabeth, welcome to the show. How are you?
I'm doing amazing. Thank you for having me.
I'm really excited to have you on. I think what you're doing is pretty unique on multiple levels. So let's just dive right into it, all right?
Okay.
Where are you right now? Let's tell people where you are, first of all.
Okay, I'm in Madrid. Because I literally just moved my family here about a week ago. It was a dream of mine to have this international experience. My boys are studying, at the international school in Atlanta. They've been there since they were in kindergarten. I'm a lover of the Spanish language and all the culture. And so I literally just dreamed of this. And, I think throughout my life, when we see our lives, what we're supposed to be doing, like what's meant for us, I think we see it before it really happens. And that urge that's inside of us, or that idea, it's not just something that's a coincidence or a mistake. It's real. So I think sometimes you need to follow that inner voice. I think we listen to our outside voice or the outside voices a little bit too much, or probably we don't even need to listen to them at all because this voice is so clear when you really get still. So I'm here in Spain. I was basically, too scared to even think about it for a while because it just seemed overwhelming. And then one day I was like, it's time, that divine timing. And that was March of this year. Okay, I think it's time. The boys are at the right age. Like, when are you going to do it? You finished this project, that project. It's time to do it. Can you do it? Figure it out. And so we figured it out. And that's kind of become the mantra. We'll figure it out.
That's awesome. Look, and the reason why I didn't even really talk to you too much when we popped on here was I wanted to save it for this. My wife does not listen to this podcast. Surprise, surprise, right? But I'm going to send her this one because we have had this draw to a European city ongoing, and the conversations are getting more and more frequent. And then I'm reading more about you, and you talked about stillness, right? I also meditate. I know you're a meditator. And like you said, things kind of unfold the way they're supposed to. And all of a sudden, next thing I know, I'm reading a post that you moved to Spain, which I thought was incredible. And you are still running your practice, correct?
Yeah, so I'll be a digital nomad. So supposedly, if you are a lawyer, it's a little bit harder to become a digital nomad, a practicing lawyer. So I am actually less of a practicing lawyer, although, I still do a little bit, but I'm more of a founder and a manager
CEO.
Of my business, CEO. So that's so I had to find my, diploma, my undergrad diploma, and get that. You have to get everything apostilled if you're going to get a visa in Spain, or probably every European country, but which an apostille is something really different. And practicing immigration law, it's really different doing it the other way around. And so it's been really interesting. Yeah, we just showed up and they're like, yeah, well, you just file when you get there. I mean, you got to be ready, but we're going to file this week. Okay,
right.
Cool.
is the plan that this is a temporary move, or you kind of see how it develops?
I don't have a plan. I mean, I literally signed a lease. I paid for the whole year of school tuition. I have transferred so much money in the last 2 months to Spain. I mean, I like call my bank. I'm like, I'm doing another international wire transfer. Of course, now I have a bank account in Spain, but only some money's in there. But so I really just want to see how things go. And that's,
Awesome.
I think, let everything guide me. I feel like planning's, sometimes is good. We have to have an idea. What's the feeling how do we want to feel? Where do we want to be, like kind of in a broad way? And then just like walk those steps and make those decisions. I always say, gather the information, get still, think about it, take your next step. Gather your information, get still, and take your next step. We don't have to plan the whole thing. And there's no way I could have done all of this. I literally changed my mind a million times on what I was doing because I was gathering information, then I was thinking about it. And then I was making my decisions. I wasn't in limbo about the decision and going back and forth. Because I knew inside, I'm like, okay, this is right. Even though my mom was like, what are you doing? And crazy. But now she's good because she's used to me. I'm always full of surprises for sure.
Right. Well, it's funny because a good friend of mine, I don't know, do you know Billy Mansky?
No.
Okay, Bill's a lawyer out of Florida, amazing guy. Also, he's got this attachment to Europe, and he talks all the time about moving. And I think that what you've done is incredible because what you said earlier does apply, that too often we're just stuck in this overthinking process. Like, you're living proof your world didn't fall apart. You're still going to survive. And what's the worst that happens? Like, you did something that you felt was in your heart the right move, right? So I give you a ton of credit. Like, I've been practicing north of 30 years at this point, and I'm still talking about like that move that you just did, right? And it's pretty awesome that you did it. And I think it requires a certain level of stillness and also a certain level of fearlessness. Like, you just like, what's the worst that happens, right?
Yeah. I mean, I say let your heart be your tiebreaker when you're stuck in a decision, I
like that.
No, you don't have to, be in this analysis paralysis, although lawyers like to do that. But yeah, I feel like there was a time when fear really held me back. And then there was a moment in time that I, was like, I don't care anymore. Like, I don't care what anyone else thinks. And I also am going to do what I think is right for me. And I think we are programmed, when we're growing up, school, we have to please our parents and our teachers. We have to get the good grades. We have to do this. And, what's it going to look like on the outside? I felt that idea growing up so much. And now I was like, it doesn't look like what they told me it was going to look like on the outside.
Right.
Like, I've created something different than that. And that's still okay. And you know what? No one really cares. I mean, no one's like saying anything. I mean, actually, everyone's more like, wow, yeah, that's great. And maybe it's because I align with the frequency of the people that are in a higher frequency, and the haters that are in that low vibe. I don't hear them, like the dog, that you can't hear those certain frequencies. I'm sure people have their opinions. I literally don't hear anybody's opinion, or if it's bad or good. I really couldn't care less.
I think it's really cool. I mean, you look a lot younger than me. I don't know how old you are. I'm 57, but I think you hit a point with wisdom where you go, and I remember muttering these words to my wife because there was a lot of noise and not a lot of signal. And I'm like, look, they don't pay the mortgages. They don't pay the bills. All of those opinions are very inconsequential to me, as if I couldn't hear them anymore. It took me, I think, longer to get there, but I also didn't start meditating till later in life, where I just started to get real clear on the signal versus the noise. Right. And there's a lot of noise. So I give you a lot of credit for doing that. So let's shift for a minute, because you founded your firm in 2010, Garvish Immigration, right? You're an immigration attorney. I would imagine you're explosively busy with the phones ringing off the hook during these crazy times.
We've been busy for like the last, 20 years. It's always something, oh, wow, you must be busy, because they're like rounding up people off the street. And I don't do removal work, but it's still kind of really interesting to watch. Horrifying, but I don't allow myself to be horrified anymore, because this whole year I was, wow, my vibe is really getting knocked around a bit, because I'm like opening up the news, or I have to stay informed. And I'm like, wow, what the heck is happening to our Constitution, to my beloved immigrants? Do people not understand what is happening? and everyone just going about, and like, I'm living this nice life. And I'm like, wow, what is happening here? And I had to I went to a retreat during the summer. I was like, I did this breath work where you basically lose a lung. And then that was a thing. I was like, I have to leave here, not being horrified, not letting something on the outside of me get in my way. I've got to show up in that loving space. So it's rough for immigration lawyers. If you know one, hug them. They're doing like amazing work. I mean, we are really nothing like even the first Trump 1.0. It's a whole different vibe. I feel like I left that one with PTSD, and it changed, with the policies, the administrations change. And this is like, you'll go to the immigration office. There are the messaging is so hardcore. I mean, it's so like, of course, I had to take my sons to an interview that I had to go to at 6:30 in the morning because I didn't have my au pair there. And my son was like, Mom, what does that mean? Love or a green card? What is an immigration scam? And all these, it's all this, like, if you do this, you will be punished. If you do that, like very, very, very harsh language just to, create fear. And even my clients who are green card holders, they're fine. You're fine. Don't worry. They're scared to death. I mean, we create these realities because of what we're hearing on the outside of us that maybe aren't real. What is real? I'm not even sure. I don't even know. We have all of this media coming at us. What is the truth? So it's really interesting. And I think the truth is we create that reality. Like, how we're seeing the world is how the world is. And I think a lot of people don't understand that concept. And we only have this one life. So we certainly I can't be horrified by what's going on. Right. I've got to show up in love. The world needs me. The world needs me at my frequency. Because, in this place, how someone shows up and it's like, wow, if it's a low vibration or if it's somebody who's just negative, maybe I'm just going to move over here and I'm going to shine my light brighter over here and affect what I can control. Because that's really only thing I can is myself. So in this world where we feel kind of out of control and we're being like purposefully like hit by all these things to get a reaction, to get control, because if you make someone afraid, you control them. If you want to control someone, make someone afraid. And that's kind of what's going on. So I did a little talk for my entrepreneurs group, and it's kind of a TEDx type talk. I haven't done a TEDx, but it's about choosing love over fear. When we think about love as a frequency and fear as a frequency. So I feel like it's a perfect thing right now because I'm seeing all this fear show up, and when you have that lower vibration, you're stagnant, you're small, you're going to safety supposedly, but you're not moving. You're not going forward. You're not growing. And so we're in this holding pattern when we stay in that fear place. So I think everyone needs to be brave. If you believe something's not right, if you want to do something, you got to show up in that fear. That's why I say, if you always choose that love frequency and you know what that feels like, imagine there's 2 doors before you, fear and love. Walk through that door that's labeled love every time, and you're going to be on your path. I know that sounds like, that sounds so, but it is true. It is literally, I think and I've been studying since I was graduated law school, kind of got into big law, and they told me I didn't really belong there in a nice way.
They did you a favor.
They did. I'm so grateful. I have a story called The 3 Men in Suits, and I'm so grateful to those 3 men in suits for basically just giving me a crappy review that was like complete lies. But I was like, wow, why am I here? I am a rainmaker. I'm a woo Clifton Strengths. Like, I had all this business I brought in. So I was like, well, I'll just take my business and go start my own thing, and like, I didn't,
Good
but
for you.
You get all this messaging that you've got to be in that corner office in the big law firm. You've got to be in the corner office in the big law firm. I think it's changing a little bit now for sure. But that was the messaging, that you're not, if you do something else, you're not really the highest level of lawyer or.
Right.
So it's interesting how we can kind of, we take all of that, and it's programming. We got it in law school. Right. We're getting it now. And that's why I say meditation and stillness, because we can hear more of those divine messages that are really the truth for us. It's not something on the outside of us.
It's just another form of closing out the noise, right? Like, the noise can be the 3 men in suits. It can be online. It's funny, the condescension from big law against, the small little PI lawyer or the small little immigration lawyer. Meanwhile, we make more money than some of those big law lawyers. We're happier. I don't work on vacations. I was away for the month of July. I don't take a fax machine. I don't answer to anybody. And so it's just funny if you just, like you said, choose your vibration. That condescension all comes from insecurity and fear and all that stuff that, quite honestly, it's not where I choose to play. It's not the level I want to be at. How long have you been meditating? Because clearly you've been doing it a while.
So, not that long, like truly meditating, like that we do every day with my kids.
That's amazing that you got them doing that. I'm trying to get my daughter into it, but she tends to rebel right now.
Yeah.
So like anything I'm like, oh, you should do. She's like, yeah, I'm definitely not doing it now. So
my kids, well, I have the 10-year-old twins. They ask for it every night. So it's more every night. I'm trying to have them do like journal entries of our trip as well. But we started with hypnosis and then we kind of went over to the meditation. But I found Joe Dispenza. And when I found Joe Dispenza through my entrepreneurs group on EO.
I'm also a member of EO. I just joined.
Oh, yay. Okay.
Yeah, I just joined.
Great. Okay. So I'm in the Latin American chapter and I just joined EO Madrid. So
nice.
I have a forum already. Yeah. So
That's awesome.
I have a whole community here for me already, which is amazing.
That's awesome.
So I went to like a small, like women's retreat thing and there was a WhatsApp channel and someone was talking about their experience of like meditating for 5 hours, at a Joe Dispenza retreat. And I was like, that voice inside, I gotta go. I'm going. Right. I don't even know what I was walking into, but I signed up and I went and that was like in 2021. So I was like, oh my gosh, this is insane. All of the things that he was saying and what they were doing. And I had no idea. But so really starting to meditate like a lot started then. And since then I've attended like 24 retreats with Joe Dispenza. We're doing some immigration work for the researchers and the affiliated companies. And I have clients that I sat
next. That's amazing.
I have clients that I met on a walking meditation in Vienna that are, extraordinary ability, green card or visas. And so it's kind of crazy how all that works out, and just amazing. I'm so grateful. And I went on this journey too, where I have 2.5-year-old twin girls that were frozen embryos for 9 years. And so I don't know, I had to do this work to get them into the world. I mean, I went on this journey with them, with that whole creation. Like, how do you create a miracle? It's like, I've got to change myself so that I am the person who has 4 kids and 2 sets of twins. The doctor tells you everything bad, but you don't believe them and you do that. And so like Joe Dispenza kind of like, and I think he taught me how to do that, the science behind how our body works, how energy works, and then how our emotions and our thoughts work. And so putting that all together, and then you look at what he's teaching, you look at everything else. I mean, read any book on manifestation, even the Catholic Church, like all the religious books. It's all the same. It's about love and forgiveness. I mean, loving for ourselves, being forgiving, and then creating the life you want by walking into it before you even have it, feeling the emotions before you have what you want. Like the future is yours. The past does not create the future. So, So it's long answer short. I've been meditating for 4 years, like pretty consistently.
That's awesome. I'm doing it 10 years now. And I tell anybody that will listen, because people are always like, how do you do what you do, right? And I think a big part of being a CEO of a business, running it like a real business, which you are doing right now, is that stillness, to be able to think deeply and focus deeply. That only comes from really being comfortable with your level of self-awareness. Like that's the stuff that I think CEOs really have to work on, right? That really want to run it like a business. You can't lead effectively unless you are supremely self-aware of who you are, what your shortcomings are, all of it, and you accept it and you're able to work with it and build around that, right? And then focus on, like you said, where you want to focus, focusing on the vibration you want to be in. The clients then will come to you that you want, and you automatically start repelling the other types of clients and staff members and all of that stuff, right? Automatically, it'll start to become kind of organic, and it happens. It's nice to see it happen in your practice as it's changing in your life. That's what I find. So,
I mean, I think we attract who we are, and so become what you want. become, we want to be the most loving and kind and creative. And, we want to show up in that higher vibe. We're going to believe in possibility. We want to have other people that want to believe with us and not want to because some people are very focused on everything that can go wrong and all of the negativity and blame and, all those bad emotions, shame, guilt, and all these things. And that just doesn't, if you want to create something amazing, you need to get rid of all those emotions. I mean, and if you...
Yes, for sure. It's funny because I had to make probably one of the more significant business decisions I've had to make in a long time this last 3 months. And it was a lot of meditation, a lot of conversations with my coaches and my management coaches and stuff. And then I just got to a point where I was like, it's simple. It's not emotional. This is not an emotional decision. This is a business decision. And that's how we're going to approach it. And one of our core values, echoing, I think that's what resonated when I first read about you, was one of our core values, kind candor, right?
Yeah.
Kindness. But just stripping away so many people are afraid to just say, oh, the business needs this, right? But kindness. And so when you would talk about leading with love, and I know it's one of your goals to build, tell me what your mission is.
Happiest law firm in America.
Right. Which I loved because you know what you want for your life, and you're designing it with so much intention. That's why I was excited to have you on as well.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, I think, and showing up in love and showing up with kindness does not mean that you don't get rid of the people that are not aligned with you. Because I think we tend to label things as good or bad. But if I'm going to be letting you go, if you're on the team and you're not matching with us, things aren't working out, you're a client, it's not good, things aren't vibing, we're not feeling it, that's going to be better for you in the long run. If this is the right thing, you're going to find a place that you're going to feel better, or you're going to learn a lesson, or you're going to redirect, or whatever it is. So, just like the 3-minute suits, they told me that I don't fit in.
And they were right. When I say they were right, I mean in the best way possible,
yes,
right?
No,
okay, man, you do you, I'm doing me, and that's exactly it. I'm like you. I am unemployable. I get it. I 100% get it. Quick break to thank Meet Gabby, the voice AI that answers your phone, screen leads, and books consults 24/7. They'll even send out retainers if the person on the other end of the phone asks for a retainer. If intake is slowing you down, check out meetgabby.com. This episode is supported by TonaLaw, a modern law firm built on integrity and innovation. Learn how they're changing the game at TonaLaw.com. Attorney referrals accepted from across the country. You'll see what it's like when you send us a case. You'll have some happy clients. And in founding the firm, what was your vision for the law firm? And has that changed? Is it still the same?
Literally, when I decided to start the law firm, there's just so many things. I wanted to have a place where I felt comfortable to be authentically me. I didn't have to I got dress code violations at Big Law. I mean, I'm like, is this important? I mean, there's just so many crazy things that you would be reprimanded for. And it doesn't matter what I wear. I'm going to get the results for my client. Things like that. So with the happiest law firm in America, I was like, I want to be somewhere where I can be authentic. I can be me, because I was having to wear this social mask, and obviously they didn't like what I was wearing either on my body and all of these things. And I just want people to show up, and basically we have a hard job to do. So we need to work hard at our job, be ourselves, not be saddled by that, having to be someone 8 to 10 hours a day, and then please someone else, have all this professional decorum, and then go home and take it all off. And it's so heavy, and it's so, for the team even, it's so hard. And every connection and interaction that I have, it needs to be a deep connection. And I don't want to go through the world with this surface stuff. So a lot of those are the ideas that I was thinking about. I'm tired of not being able to be myself, because you know what? I'm amazing at being myself. I do things that no one else can do. I want to do the best job that I can, which is being me. And I want all of my team to do the same thing and feel that freedom. It is freedom to be able to do that. And then in that turn, that freedom is happiness. That freedom's contentment, that freedom's satisfaction. So I didn't really know what it was going to look like, but I knew what I wanted it to feel like.
So how big is your team now?
So we're like probably 17. We vacillate between 17 and 20. I've got a new hire coming in when she graduates law school at the end of the year. So that hire is already made. So we're going to try to survive with one less lawyer. But we have a remote team in Argentina.
Oh, nice.
And Colombia. And now I'm here in Spain.
Nice.
So yeah, I mean, I've made some big changes recently about, what's our team going to look like? Do we need to have this many lawyers? We really need to have only A players. Right. So like if it's not totally aligned with what we're doing, we even changed our scorecard on EOS. Like I was reaching for the stars a little bit and I was like, you know what? We need to be more in the green. Let's just take our goals down just a bit so we can see. And then we're going to get up to our green and then we're going to go to the next one. And so I brought on some efficiency people that help with immigration. And I think that's going to be great. There's a lot of this book, Who Not How.
Yeah.
I have all the ideas and we're like, let's do this. But I didn't have the expertise. This has kind of been going on for the last year. So I didn't have the expertise to get me to that next level on what I wanted to do. We're spinning wheels. Like we want to do this software. We want to have this happen. And so I've started to kind of find some who's. And I think I feel different about where I was like, a year ago and where we're going now because we lost a very big client. We do a lot of work for hospitals. So we had a very big hospital client and there was a merger, in immigration, if you're doing business immigration, there's mergers. The work goes to another law firm. And so that was a big chunk of business that I've been replacing. And that was like, oh gosh, I cried that day. Of course, it didn't happen all of a sudden. We're still transferring cases over, and you never know. I mean, we may get them back. Who knows?
Right.
But yeah, so I've been replacing that income, kind of making sure new clients are coming and all the time. So like, how are we gonna, relying on one big client? It's nice to have one big client that just pays and you're the outside counsel and that's great. I love those clients. And we have a few more like that, but this was a really hometown client that we loved. And then we had the election that happened and it seemed like things stopped last year around the fall before the election. Things weren't moving. And so my last year was not where I planned it to be. So I said, okay, well, we've got to shake this up and figure out, what we're going to do. So I think I feel really good about, in the meantime, I've built a whole office, bought a building. So we moved in there. That was crazy. Did a whole nother construction project at my house. So it's like I finished all those things. And now I'm like, okay, now we're moving to Spain. I'm like, I can't sit still and enjoy things. But, we have this one life. I want to live it. And I'm not going to jump out of an airplane or that's probably not my thing. But I'm going to do other things that are brave,
Right. And you are. And I think that's awesome because not only do we have this one life, but it goes really fast.
Yes.
Really fast. We're already talking about my daughter going to college. I'm like, I remember when she was born and it was like yesterday, So, and what you're talking about, we're going through a lot of the similar stuff where I had the same epiphany. I was like, I'm wondering who I need to bring in to get us to the next level. Because I felt the same way, like I was stagnating. And I figured that out. And it was a C-suite executive, right? I bit the bullet. I said, I started the interview process. I'm in the middle of it now because we're on EOS going on 3.5 years. And I think one of the shortcomings of EOS is they don't give you a lot of heads up about things, right? They can only go so far. It's a system. There's holes with every system. You have an integrator right now, a second in command?
Yeah, I have. We had some shedding of people that
That happens with EOS. They also don't tell you that. They don't tell you that.
You outgrow people, they outgrow you. So I actually, from within, I promoted from within. So our operations director right now is an up and coming young. She's very passionate about our firm and she's very good. So I'm hoping that we're learning together. I've kind of created also a team of people, those who's that can help her with these projects that were these efficiencies. Right. So it's
so fractional people, fractional outside help. Yeah, look, that was my evolution too. I just hit a point where I was like, I realized that it was about me getting out of operations, right? It was not about anything else or anybody else. My whole team is still intact, but I started to have people coming in like, I think you expect us to do certain things. We don't know how to get there. And I'm like, well, I don't know how to build it further. So I wanted to bring that person on to kind of lead the charge of growing the leaders beyond where they're currently at, right? And that was kind of a paradigm shift for me as well. We started out fractionally, but I wanted to own it. I wanted to own the 40-hour week of just be dedicated to my law firm, right? Because I get impatient. I'm like you. I can't sit still. I get impatient. And so that's a big shift though. And it's a monumental shift with you leaving for Europe to do that. And yeah, super brave. And listen, you're going to end up traveling back and forth. It's not like you're not going to be doing that, but I think that you're on a good path. How long have you been on EOS?
We've been doing it probably like 3 or 4 years, but there was a time I had another operations director and we went downhill with her. And so now we're back. I feel like our last few meetings, we're back on our pace. Like, so every meeting now, because we have the same, more or less same team, but a little different with the leadership team. But now we're doing every part of EOS. We're like learning about, let's learn about this. Every meeting that we do, we're going to like dive deep. So we dive deep into rocks. Like, are we doing our rocks right? These are goals, these are, that we have for every 90 days. So are we doing those right? Are we doing our scorecard correctly?
Right. And you have somebody outside that implements for you, that helps you implement?
I don't right now. We have in the past, and we probably will bring back for our annual meeting. And I'm just figuring that out. But for our annual meeting, we'll probably do that, or we might even do for quarterly. But we had someone in the past, for a couple of years. Then my operations director said, you don't need that. And then then we had a dip in how productive we were.
Right,
it's interesting how one person can and so I made a lot of mistakes. Like
as we all do though, like,
no.
Listen, I don't know any really top level entrepreneurs that right now that I surround myself with who don't make mistakes. I think that it's like a running joke among people in my circles. Like, you're kind of fearless. Like, you'll try anything to see if it works. You'll stroke a check for anything to see if it works. But I take very calculated risks to make sure my downside on those risks never is too down. But same thing, like, you have to be willing to fail and dust yourself off. Otherwise, you're not going to find what works, right? Like, that's my opinion on it.
Yeah, I just don't have that. I don't have that emotion around failing, or I think sometimes, as I'm getting still or meditating, I was like, oh gosh, I think I have a little limiting belief here about, my financials don't look the way I want them to look. And I'm like, this is getting in the way of me getting to that next level. I've got to get rid of that limiting belief, or I've got something, because it's all within us. If we feel that we are able to create whatever, if we can see what we want to create and feel that we're worthy of that, be that person, then, we can create it. So, but I think it also is experiment. This law firm is a living, breathing experiment.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if it'll work. Can lawyers be happy? Is there a new way to practice law? I think so. Now I'm kind of creating miracles in my practice by surrender, detaching from the outcome completely emotionally. Like, it's not like I don't care. It's like, it's either it's already done, I'm not going to worry about it, or I've got another strategy. It doesn't matter if it works out that way. And when we surrender that emotional grit, things start to happen really fast. Yeah. But we don't know. Like, there's a lot of things that we just don't know. But I've had just so many things happen when I was like, oh my gosh, everybody said that'll never work. That's never, you're going to get denied everything. And I'm like, well, we're just going to figure out what we've got in here, how we're feeling, what we're thinking. And we're going to be aware of what our thoughts are. We're going to get rid of all those negative ones, and we're going to move forward with the belief and the possibility, not what can go wrong, but what can go right. And if, we let our clients know, hey, there's probably an 80% chance this is not going to work. All the other lawyers said, forget it. And like the liaison from the senator's office said, USCIS is doing this. And okay, but do you want to believe in the possibility? Because there's infinite possibilities in the universe. So if we focus on what we want, maybe we can make it happen. Every time we do that, I tell the client this. I'm like, if they're game, every time we've done that, And even sometimes they don't even know because I'm kind of just doing it in my energy. We've created something that was like, oh my gosh, I can't even believe that happened. And, because I wasn't coming from a place of fear. I wasn't emotionally, attached to it or gripping harder in desperation or scarcity or lack. I was walking as if it already happened. I was already grateful for that. I knew what was coming. Like that's the hardest part is that surrender piece. But if we can master that surrender, your life can change.
Well, it's super freeing, right? Like I talk about it all the time, and I feel like when I put that stuff out on LinkedIn, there's so few people that actually
get it,
stop and pause or whatever. But like very often I'm in the mountains, I'm meditating. I go to the mountains a lot. And I actually will crystallize a vision of like certain threads that I call like threads of fear. Like what is the remainderment of? And so like I'm often heard saying like, I don't make decisions in a place of fear. I don't make decisions in a place of emotionality where, if I have somebody who's not aligning, let's say, very often I'll disappear for 48 hours and they're like, well, where have you been? I'm like, I'm figuring it out. I'm going into the cave. I'll be back in 48. And I come back just completely clear. Because like you said, control's an illusion, right? It really is. And it's amazing to see how many grown adults are driven from unresolved fear, trauma, emotional issues. And it's deep in everybody. It's like bring your family to work day every day. Who's work? And like you said earlier, A players have a high level of self-awareness and they can do the work of 3 non-A players, right? So there's no reason to be afraid. It's just a matter of letting life unfold, letting go, right? There's all different terms for let go theory with Mel Robbins or the let them theory. I'm sorry, not let go, the let them theory. So all of those different things where, that's why you're allowing your firm to thrive, right? You're allowing your firm and your A players to breathe and just, you're letting go. Like they tell you with EOS, you got to let go to lead. And how many lawyers are even capable of doing that? And talk about letting go. Like you hopped on a plane and went to another continent. You're like, we're going to be fine. Right. But again, I'm assuming you have a high level of trust with your existing team and that your operator is a high level operator. Right. But you'll know, like you'll start to see the data and the numbers talking to you where if something needs tweaking, you still can read the charts and look at the data. So I think it's pretty awesome where you're at.
I mean, I think immigration law is like one of those things. We were doing this remote stuff before it was a thing because it's federal law. So our clients could be anywhere in the country, anywhere in the world. So we weren't meeting in person with our clients. Then COVID happened. And then I actually like built my, I bought a building, built my office and my lease ran out. So I had to move my office to the basement. So like, I didn't see clients I was like,
Right.
come by, if they're in Atlanta, come by the house. But, like I didn't have control over the timeline for any of that, So it's very interesting. But I think, we can do this remote work. I mean, unfortunately now we have more interviews scheduled during the Trump administration, but.
Yeah, but look, again, you've got a team. You've got a team. And if you have to fly back, you fly back. There's worse things, right? How far is the flight from you?
It's 8 hours or so. Yeah.
Not bad. Yeah. We just did it. I came from Portugal. We were in Portugal and it was
I'm going to Lisbon.
Yeah, that's where we were. And it was amazing. And I did it with a mastermind. It's an international mastermind that John Fisher hosts once a year. And they pick a country. We go. It's all lawyers. There's 2 or 3 immigration lawyers it's open to all lawyers. Like if you ever decide you want to jive with it, you can show up in Manhattan. You can wherever it is. But what's cool about it is we're starting to see more and more practitioners like outside of personal injury, right? A retired immigration judge who now has her own practice shows up. And there's another guy out of Chicago, Mario. You know Mario Godoy? Do you know Mario?
No.
He's an immigration attorney out of Chicago. Great, great guy. And so they've been showing up more and more to these. So it's kind of cool to get the different inputs. And again, business owners, it doesn't really matter what area of practice. We all share the same sticking points, pain points, depending on the journey you're at, right? I have a different practice altogether. Everything you're saying has resonated with me.
Yeah.
Right.
We have an industry group within my EO lawyers. So we meet 3 times a year in person. We just met in Cleveland.
Oh, wow.
I think I've been to Denver with them. I've been to, so
That's like a subgroup, right? That's like a
yeah,
subgroup of EO. So Adam Rawson, who got me into EO, is a criminal defense attorney out of, is he Fort Lauderdale? He's going to kill me that I forgot that. But
yeah.
he got me into EO, and then he said, look, as soon as you're in, I'll get you into the My EO Lawyer
Oh yeah.
subsegment. So I'm excited to
Yeah,
kind of join that.
you might enjoy that small group as well. I mean, really connect deeper to that group of lawyers. I mean, I feel like especially, I'm not only creating the happiest law firm, I'm writing a book about how to practice law with love. So, I kind of want to be around lawyers to kind of see what's happening and like, how are people feeling or, it's interesting. And when I hear these grown men, and I hear you talk, it's like, I feel a lot of hope for the profession.
Yeah.
So I feel like we are on a path that is good. I mean, this is such an honorable profession. And, we are doing so much good in the world. And I think in America right now, even, lawyers are going to want this. We are getting a little bit beat down with what's happening in our country. And I know the pendulum will swing back. I'm sure things will be okay.
Yep.
But we still have to be, that's why I said, I thought about this a lot. And I said, I deserve to have my dreams come true and I deserve to be happy. I can't be just, bombarded by all the negativity and all the crap and that's going on in the world. Because how do you, there's things that are happening in the world that are so bad. How do we kind of reconcile our life? What I've learned is we have to live our best life and show up in that highest vibration of love. We can't give in to what's going on. And as lawyers, the same thing. Right. We're going to fight. But, I think there is a way, like fighting in this 3D world, as Joe Dispenza says, like moving matter, maybe, changing the energy within ourselves might make our fight, a little bit more effortless or even
It also changes people around you. I'm a firm believer, and I had a therapist through the process over the years. I will never forget, as you were saying it, it just dawned on me. I'm sitting on the couch, I'm talking to the guy, and I'm like, man, there's so much dark in the world. Now I'm talking about this was 25 years ago, right? And it always will be. But what his advice was, don't worry about that. Worry about what you in your little corner of the world at this point can influence. And only worry about that. And what ends up happening is now in my 50s, I've got a team of like you, I go between like 18 and 25. And then I have a team overseas in the Philippines, 15 people. And so in my little corner of the world, I've now influenced not only 40 different people, their families, and all by just focusing on the things that I could control. I can't do what other law firm owners are going to run their practices. Are they going to practice with love or not? But I know that I practice that way. I think that I lead with love, but firm. Like I'm firm in my vision, and like you, that I am very much firm in the requirement that I need alignment with what we are focused on, right? So if you're not aligned, I'll be kind, but I'm going to be truthful about that non-alignment. Right. So I think that your focus is on the signal, not the noise, and the signal in your world, your 4 kids, your spouse, your family, your work people. I don't usually refer to them as family. It's a team in my head, a high performing team. But I think that then ripples out to the EO groups and all these different groups that you're part of too. You're influencing those rooms with your good energy, your positive energy.
Yeah. I mean, hopefully 100%. Yeah. Hopefully
100%,
are not ways to create, because we leave doubt out there.
There's no hopefully. I'm going to tell you that I sat in a room with a guy who was a client who was easily worth multiple 9 figures. The guy, it's a really weird story. He was a semi-pro boxer. He bought a huge chunk of real estate and formed a day camp in Long Island. This chunk of real estate was worth gajillions. He sells it to a developer, and overnight, we're talking massive influx of wealth. I was still to this day remember sitting with him and how his energy changed me that day. He was positive, light, and just the only word I could use is like that love energy you're talking about. You'd be surprised, 100%, any impact, anytime you have an interaction with somebody, you are 100%. As long as you're vibrating at that level, it's got to change people. It definitively does. So I read what your associates post about you on LinkedIn. It clearly is impacting people.
Yeah. I
you
mean,
know?
it's funny because I have one story where I'm like, how to change the energy in the room, So we go to immigration, we do have those in-person interviews for green cards and things like that. And I represent a lot of doctors. And so we show up at an interview and this officer is just like, I'm not approving you today. Who are you? Like basically ready to like fight me. And I'm like, oh gosh, and all I had to do was, I didn't have any choice. I sat in the corner because they don't really want me to say anything anyway. She's talking to my lawyer. She's mad. I don't know. She's already made up her mind, but I'm like, okay, I'm just going to sit here. I'm going to, get quiet, get in my heart. I'm going to look at her and I'm going to see the most like generous interpretation of her, like the most beautiful, like what her dreams are made of, like running on the beach with hair flowing and like, her children there and like, just like the most beautiful thing. And like, I'm just going to send all of this like vision and this love to her. And I'm not going to lie, like in that, and I don't know if it's going to work. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, but everything started to shift in that room. And by the end, she was like falling all over herself to help us, like running down the hall to get the supervisor, like setting up a time for my client to bring in his medical exam. And that green card got approved in like 2 days. And when we
Wow.
walked in, she was like screaming at me and basically, I'm never going to approve you today. And I was like, okay. But who knows? And my client, he's a medical doctor, a specialist. And he's like, what happened? And I'm like, it's love. I don't
Yeah.
know. What do I know? I'm like, I don't.
Listen, I'm telling you, and people that know me know because I talk so much and I'm a rough around the edges guy. I've always been that way. But I think my superpower is that self-awareness I have about myself. And I talk a lot about this. I'm like, look, when I sit opposite somebody, I'm like, who do you think is in control of your destiny? If I'm on an interview and I ask somebody that, if they're, again, if they're not, I'm not talking about C-suite. I'm talking about, because to me in the C-suite, you're already self-aware. You're doing the meditation work or the self-improvement work, right? Like you're vibrating at a different level to rise to that level of leadership. That doesn't mean you can't be a bad person in the C-suite, but for the most part, I think the most successful people I have found, trial lawyers, because I have trial lawyers that work with me, the most successful ones are the nicest people. It's not ego driven, and ego revolves around a lower vibration, fear, anxiety, stress, trauma, whatever it is, unresolved, right? We all have trauma in our past, but have you resolved it or made peace with it or used it for good? Like I know fantastic people I've interviewed on this show, 9-figure verdicts. And I said, what keeps you going? One word answer, trauma, right? But they've used it for good. They've turned their self-awareness around and said, I want to do something different in the universe, right? So I think that your vision, your mission, it really resonated with me. And one of the things I thought was cool was because, the world needs another podcast, right? So you're doing a podcast that you're coming out with, but I actually thought it was really cool, which was Love Letters to Immigrants. Have you launched that yet? Have you started it?
We haven't launched it. I've been a little busy.
Just a little.
I was going to do, I've got the domain and I've got the landing page. And so I've got like a list of people I've already kind of been asking people. And I wanted to do something in the world. And what I'm kind of starting with is posts. And then we're going to get to the recordings and then we're going to kind of get some more traction on that. But I just feel like there's so much hate for immigrants right now. And it's not like it's only now. It's kind of been a theme in our country. Like the people that have created our amazing country and are being ostracized and treated like, I don't know. And I think if they're going to do it to those people, maybe we should also be aware that they could do it to anybody. And we're all human beings too. And it's not, a border is a border. When you really think about the universe, we're talking about.
It's so crazy. It's so crazy, the concept of where we are right now today with that whole concept of nationalism and borders and this border is better than that border. I'm like, these are arbitrary lines.
This is the truth. You are me, I am you, God is within you, God is with me. We are at a higher vibration when we're not a body. We are all connected. Everything. We are just so connected. We are connected more than we can ever imagine. If we can give into that and stop being so separate, we're going to find the truth. That is the truth. We are all divine. We're all, we are the universe. I mean, that's the truth. And it has nothing to do with religion. It has nothing to do with anything,
Well, look, I think separatists thrive on fear. It's driven by fear. You look different than me. I'm different from you. And then they start to grade, well, I'm better because, and then all of a sudden, like when I hear people talking that way, I'm like, I can't even listen to that noise. Like, it's insane to me because we all are connected. And I don't even think it's unique to immigration. Like,
no.
I do personal injury, right? And so like when I ask people, why do you want this job? If the answer is not, I want to help people, then you're in the wrong field. Like if you don't want to be on the phone helping people, you just want to do X, Y, and it maybe just a different firm, right? There are plenty of law firms out there you can do that. So I think that there is so much to what you just said about the connectedness of it. It's all stressful what we do. Being a lawyer is super stressful, right?
Doesn't have to be. We can get rid of that limiting belief, right? We really do have control of our thoughts. So I mean, I'm not saying it's easy, because people are like, why are you so calm? You're moving to like another country and like the next day. Cause I literally rented my house out like 7 days before, like a few days before, to a family that really needed it. They just had a baby. Their house was flooded. And it was like, oh my gosh. But I had to get my cutoff had gone, I had to get that whole house, like all the stuff out of it and stored. And I ran out of time for my closet. Like I had to just like surrender completely. Cause like we were leaving, I got 2 renter vans, all 15 bags. We're like going, and I looked at my project manager, and she's a designer, and I have my real estate agent, or they're my best friends, really. My other nanny, I was like, I have to go. Can you finish? All my clothes, my bathroom, like everything's half done. I was like, it's got to be emptied out in one day. I was like, okay, I trust you. Bye.
Listen,
we got to go to the
someday. You're going to look back on this move as probably one of the best things you ever did. Like, how many people have the guts? Listen, this is the one podcast I'll get my wife to listen to, because we've been having this conversation. Like, I'm 57. You're going to turn around in 20 years and be like, where'd the 20 years go anyway? And think about what you are going to do with your family together, the memories you're going to make in this incredible adventure that you decided to take, right? And it's not like your world is falling apart. It's just stuff in your closet that needs to be put away.
It's already done. It's already done.
Yeah.
It's all done. I mean, like that wasn't even a thing, but people were looking at me like, why aren't you stressed? And I was like, there's nothing I can do. Like it's going to work out. I don't know. Like
it's just stuff. You can buy more clothes.
Yes. And I do go through my stuff, but I was like, oh, I can walk to all the stores. I'm like in a very nice area. I have all the stores everywhere. I have not purchased anything yet, but except for bags of school uniforms. I literally have 8 bags of school uniforms. But
Right. No, that's awesome. So when do you think the podcast will be out? Do you have a target date?
I'm going to start working on it because I actually already like hired some producers to help me, and it's just me having to do it because it's really like a labor of love. So hopefully I will set a deadline to try to get it done before, the end of the year, maybe get at least 10 episodes or, where we can have it out. And maybe I can call you.
Absolutely. Look, I'll tell you the way I got started. I hired a producer for 1 year. The guy showed me the ropes. Then I took it in-house, and I had somebody in-house that was doing it. And then she started her own business doing social media. And so it's just me and my editor in the Philippines. And quite honestly, I do minimal editing because it's just conversations that are flowing anyway. Yeah. The reason I started the whole thing was I wanted to talk to people I wouldn't ordinarily get to talk to for an hour, right? I don't have an immigration practice. We will never cross paths in that regard. But now that I know you, if I'm ever in Europe in your neck of the woods, I would call you up and, hopefully I'll see you at masterminds or EO things together, right?
Oh, now we'll see each other at EO. Yeah, maybe come to, in Dublin is Global Leadership Academy. So, you're going to love EO. It's going to be great.
I'm excited because I love the idea of being outside of law with non-lawyers in mastermind settings where it's all the same issues. You could have a $40 million business. It's all the same issues. It's just different levels, different devils, right? So I kind of like the idea of just expanding beyond that artificial construct of you got to be with lawyers in masterminds and stuff like that, So
It'll be amazing.
I want to be in groups where it's the same, mindset and the same vibration. I want, a higher thought level, self-awareness level. And it just seems like those people are dedicating themselves to betterment, right? And rising above and doing all of the stuff we're talking about.
You are going to fit in really well. I can already tell.
Awesome. I'm looking forward to meeting you in person. You got a fascinating story. I'm excited for your book to come out. Your message should get out there because you're literally living a life of love and excitement. And man, I just wish more lawyers realized. So like I get up every day. Somebody's like, what do you do? And I'm like, only what I love. That's my answer. And like when I'm talking to the lawyers and they're so miserable and so downtrodden, and I'm like, look, man, you got one life. If you're miserable, you're doing it wrong. You're doing it wrong. Like I'm not telling you how to live, and it's funny, I'll end it on this note. I have had the really divine pleasure of having the most powerful female CEO role models. And I think I'm going down this journey because as I'm watching my daughter get older, I'm a ton of masculine energy. My wife's a ton of feminine energy. And what I love is the female CEOs that I've interviewed. You probably know some of them. Jen Gore, yourself, Allie. I can't think of Allie's last name. She's running an 8-figure family law firm. She's going to kill me. Michelle Delino, who's running a multiple 8-figure law firms. Wow. All of you guys. And what I love about it is that balance, the balance of masculine and feminine energy coming where that's what I hope for my daughter, right? I hope my daughter can be tough as nails, run a good business, but still have that nurturing side. I think there's too much of, again, divide one or the other, right? I have a ton of masculine energy, but I'm also very self-aware at this point in my life. And I feel like I'm way more balanced. And so I love that I was able to get another powerhouse CEO lawyer that's doing it at the high level. And you are living a life truly designed. I mean, that is bravo to you, man. I knew getting you on was going to be awesome. I don't know what made me reach out to you on LinkedIn as fast as I did, but I'm glad I did.
Oh, I'm so glad. It was like such a treat to get to meet you. And I'm super excited to see you in EO on LinkedIn again. I meet the most amazing people on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's awesome. And I think you were a sign for me because sometimes, that's what I always say whenever I meditate or pray or whatever, I've got, show me a sign. I just want to see a sign, but when's the right time? Where are we going in the law? And can we practice law with love? Can we do things differently? I mean, you are doing it differently. Like no one's going to talk like you're talking like 20 years ago. It just would not happen.
Right.
We are transforming. We are becoming, who we're meant to be, which is, the higher vibration, like our ultimate highest self, I guess, if you want to say that. So if we all could taking forward steps in that direction, no one's perfect, but those forward steps to get to that highest self and not being held back by fear. I mean, the world's going to just be an amazing place. So,
yeah. And look, I think it just makes everybody better. Do you ever read the book, The Untethered Soul, Michael Singer?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I started going down that rabbit hole with him. I picked the book up, I put it down, and then a few years later, I picked it up and it just changed my life. I started reading another book of his and
Surrender Experiment.
Yeah, I'm reading them all now. I did read a Zen Buddhist book in between where the guy said there's 3 questions to ask. And the questions are when, who, and what. In any situation, you can answer any question with when, who, and what. And the answers are surprisingly when, now, right? You only have now, right? If I hang up and I get hit by a bus, somebody could take this podcast and I've had this conversation. So when is right now. And then who, which was really surprising to me, it was whoever you're with at the moment. You give them your undivided attention. And that changed so much for me business-wise, because all of a sudden I was just engaged. Clients, team, whatever. And you could see them saying, like, it feels different talking to you now. Your ADD brain is not going ahead 10,000 steps. It's actually, and then the what you can do in that moment is care, right? So I try to bring those 3 things in everything I do morning to night now. And it's so simple. And everything you're talking about is so simple. So
It is so simple, like the present moment. And I tend to lose myself in my present moment. And I say, like, there's one present moment of joy. And like, I don't get caught up in everything because, well, I'm just in my present moment of joy right now. And then I'll be in my next present moment of joy. And then I'll be in my next present moment. I'm not spending my time worried about the past or the future too much. You know, yeah, I have to have an idea there. But sometimes I have consultations and I like completely lose track of time, and I'm over the time, or I'm doing something. I get so involved in my present moment where, like, that's not how we're programmed sometimes to be. It's like, oh my God, are you going to be on time? Like, what are you to do? All those things. And it's like, this idea of really savoring and enjoying that moment. And then those connections, like there should be no interaction with any human being that I don't feel like I look someone in the eye and I went away like, that was amazing. Like could be, on the flight, it could be, the guy at our new apartment that gets your packages and stuff. Oh, his name's Jose. I don't know, is it Luis? And so I have him on WhatsApp and I sent him a really beautiful message, and they were saying, oh, he's very serious. They were like, he's very serious. And then he sent me another beautiful message back. And I was like, cool,
that's awesome.
I need him. And like, I feel so connected, right now. And like, who knows, every little connection should be amazing like that.
And it changes your trajectory from that moment on. Like, whereas if you had kept your head down and you just didn't do that, you don't know what life would have looked like. And now it's going to be different. That's what I find so fascinating about the journey. So look, again, I'm so glad you came on. This is a great thing you're doing. I think that you're living a great life and you're living out loud and with intention, and it's awesome.
Thank you. That makes me feel good because some days, it's been an interesting week of jet lag. The kids aren't in school yet, the activities and like all the things. We don't have a car and we're just like, who knows what we're doing, but it's working.
You're going to look back, and I guarantee, I always think about like, what am I going to look back on in my deathbed, right? How many people are ever going to be able to say, the 5 of you were so brave to do this, your kids, your spouse? How many people are going to say they lived life that out loud, right? That in your face, fearless. We weren't meant to live these sheltered, shivering, cowering little lives. And I don't know, man, you're doing it right in my book. I don't know, man, for what it's worth. I think it's awesome. It's very inspirational still. And I'm 57 and it's inspirational to me. So I think it's kind of cool what you're doing. So listen, thanks for coming on.
Thank you so much. That's amazing.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Lead Counsel Podcast. Your host, Tom Tona. Go anywhere podcasts are distributed. Follow us. Leave us a 10-star review. Share some episodes with your friends. And thanks for listening. I appreciate it. Thank you. This episode is sponsored by TonaLaw. They're not just another law firm. They're defining what it means to fight for their clients. We get a lot of attorney referrals from across the country. We pay fee participation in all jurisdictions where it's permitted. We focus on integrity, innovation, and relentless advocacy. TonaLaw is proving that the business of law can scale without losing its heart. If you want to see how a modern firm is built for impact and happy client referrals, check out TonaLaw.com. Mention again the Lead Counsel Podcast, and I'm happy to get on the phone with you. This episode is also brought to you by Meet Gabby, the voice AI built for law firms. Gabby answers your phones 24/7, qualifies leads, and books consultations so you never miss another client. Imagine cutting intake time in half while giving every caller a 5-star experience. That's the power of Meet Gabby. Learn more at meetgabby.com. Mention the Lead Counsel Podcast. You can also hit me up, and I'm glad to make an introduction to the owner.